So this is my second video on this channel, the Home Boss Book Club. Welcome and thanks for tuning in. In my last video, I talked to you a little bit about what I was going to do on this channel, and basically I'm going to talk about everything that is book related, whether it's talking about the kind of books that I like to read, whether it's talking about the books that you like to read, and I'm going to take you to little visits to my local bookstores. So there will be quite a lot of different things on this channel, and I'm kind of hoping that you guys tell me what you would like to see on this channel as well. I've already had so many messages and emails about it, and thank you so much for all the book recommendations that you've sent me. So I'm going to work my way through them and tell you more about them. And the other thing I wanted to talk about to you today is this book here, Bookshop Tours of Britain by Louise Boland. And I talked about this in my last video, and I said I'm going to show you this book because I think it's such a lovely book. It's really nice. I love bookshops anyway, so if you, like me, love bookshops, this will be an ideal book for you. What I really like about it is that she has talked about all these different bookstores, and there's lots and lots of images in their photos. I love that she has divided it into regions, so you can see all the different regions in the UK, or in Britain, I should say. Let me just show you how it's organized. So there's a little map as well. This is the southwest of England, and so it starts with a little map at the beginning of the chapters, and it's going through basically all the different, let me see if you can see this. It goes through all the different regions in England and in Britain, I should say. So it covers the southwest of England coastal tour, the Yorkshire Dales tour, London as well. And there's one specific section here on the high street, your high street, and that is quite an interesting one. I've got that here, and this is basically all the big chain stores that we have here in Britain, like for example Waterstones, and I love Waterstones, and you can find them in any town or city. So my local city now is Colchester. I used to live in London, but we moved last year and now I live on the Essex coast. So my nearest town is Colchester, and there's lots of little bookstores there, lots of independent bookstores, I would say. And there's also a big Waterstones. And like I said, Waterstones is a really nice chain of books. I like it particularly because they tend to pick buildings that are really interesting. So it's not just any shop that they choose for their books. They choose very interesting buildings. Sometimes they are in old churches, sometimes they are in an old watermill, you name it. It's they're really interesting to see. So I really like that about the book, that obviously it's focusing on the little independent bookshops, and I'm really glad it does that because I don't know if you know, but I self-publish books on Amazon, and of course I like Amazon. I buy a lot of books on Amazon, and it's so convenient because you click the button and it comes the next day. And because I self-publish on Amazon, I kind of look at them as my employer as well. But it's so important to support little independent bookshops, because if we don't do that, they won't survive. Amazon is a big machine that competes with all of those little bookshops, and we need to support them as well. So I try to buy as many books as I can from smaller bookshops, and from even charity shops sell books here in the UK. So I will take you with me on my book tours, on my book shopping tours, and show you the bookshops that we have nearby, and maybe travel a little further afield. And last year I made a video for my other channel, for the Home Boss channel, where I took you all on a tour to London, and I went to Cecil Court in particular, where there's lots and lots of little book shops, and they're all independent bookshops. And that was such a fantastic day. I had such a great time looking through all those shops. Some of them were really old. They had been there for absolutely ages. And there's something special about a bookshop when you go in there. I just love the sound when you go in there. It's so quiet, and the smell is different as well. You can just, I don't know, take in the whole atmosphere of the bookshop. And when I went to Cecil Court, there were a few bookshops that really stood out at me. One of them was Watkins Books, and it was just a pleasure to see all those bookshops in one street. And we also went to see Foyles, which is a great big bookstore, and it's been there for absolute years. It's been renovated, and it looks like a modern shop now, but it has always been in that location for a long, long time. There's also Hatchards, which is a big bookshop in London. And we also went to see the Piccadilly Waterstones bookshop. So that is another very special shop. Just the location is amazing. And there are just so many books in there. I mean, I sometimes go into these bookshops and I think, I wouldn't be able to read all of these books in my lifetime. I don't think it's possible to read all of them. I'd give it a good try, but I think it's impossible. Imagine if you could read all the books that you find in these bookshops. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely wonderful. But I just try and read as many as I can. So I can't read all of them, but that would be really amazing if we could. But yes, I really enjoyed that visit to Cecil Court, so I'm going to try and make more videos like that for you. But today I thought I'd show you a virtual book tour. So this is a bookshop tour, but in the shape of a book. So what I really like about it is that she's included so many lovely images, and not only has she included images of the actual shops, but some of them include the owners of the shops, and there's little personal stories that go with the shops. So I think it's just really entertaining, even if you're not that interested in bookshops, but you wouldn't be watching this channel if you were not. So even if bookshops are not your thing, I think this book is just really entertaining on its own, because it just gives you a glimpse into the life of these bookshop owners, and I just think it's really interesting. It's got a little map of all the locations. Just a lovely book. And let me show you a little bit what I found inside. So like I said earlier, this is all about your high street. So this is all about the book chains that you would find in your high street, so you can look up what your closest bookshop would be. Obviously, if you don't live in Britain, then this might be just something that you might want to include on your travels to Europe. Maybe if you're coming to visit the UK or Britain, then you can include some visits to some bookshops as well. And here's another one. So I moved from London to Essex, and obviously I love the bookshops in London. London will always have a special place in my heart, but it's quite nice to explore new areas as well. And we live quite close to Suffolk. So even though there isn't a section for Essex in this book, which I was quite disappointed, but never mind, there's so many other places we can go and see. So the nearest to us is obviously London and then Suffolk. So I'm going to take you on a tour to one of the bookshops in Suffolk one of these days, and maybe when the weather is a little bit better. And there's one here, Woodbridge. I know my husband has mentioned Woodbridge to me. He said we should go and see Woodbridge. It's a really lovely old-fashioned town, and you'd love it. And now I realize there's a bookshop I can go and visit as well, so I'm looking forward to that. So I can really recommend this Bookshop Tours of Britain book, just because it's so well written. It's just very entertaining the way it's written. It takes you through these places almost like a storytelling way, and tells you about the shop owners and their stories. So I think Louise Boland has done a really good job with this. And a little bit of background on Louise. She's a publisher and writer who first started touring bookshops after founding her publishing house, Fairlight Books. So she's obviously a big supporter of independent bookshops and independent writing, hopefully, as well. And she has just produced this really lovely book. And I also love that it's got little quotes at the beginning of each chapter. So this one here is by Vincent van Gogh, and it says, "So often a visit to a bookshop has cheered me and reminded me that there are good things in the world." And that's exactly how I feel when I go and visit a bookshop. I always feel everything is all right with the world, even though it isn't, unfortunately, but it's just nice to disconnect from all the realities of life and go into a bookshop, and you're suddenly transported to a different world. And that's what I love about bookshops and about books, because every book transports you into a different world. So let me know if you've got any favorite bookshops. You know, do you support the little independent ones? Do you buy from big chains? Do you buy off Amazon? I have to admit, I do buy a lot from Amazon, but I also try to support the other bookstores as well. So let me know how that is for you. Do you do the same? And let me know what kind of books you're reading. Again, I had so many comments and so many messages since my last video. Thank you so much for all your recommendations. I will work my way through them. And I hope to bring you a new video very soon. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.